Ghostly Insane asks, when did you really start to pick up on art? Like, really become really passionate about it? I've liked drawing ever since I was really young, and I think ever since elementary school, I felt that I like to get some sort of career in art, like either doing newspaper comics, but right now I'm going in animation, and that's a really fun thing to experiment with. Inusuki's sister asks, what inspired you, or how did you come up with the ideas for your characters? Some of my characters are based on real-life animals. Like Cinnamon and Midnight, two of my guinea pig characters were based on a pair of guinea pigs that were owned by a daycare I went to. And Domino was based on a guinea pig I once owned. And I just give them personalities that are fun to play with. A lot of the times, ideas come to me when just going through the day, thinking of something funny or basing something that happens to me. That's how a lot of writers and artists come up with their ideas, just basing things on their life experiences. Silent Short Ninja asks, what inspired you to draw? Baby Furs Are Cool asked a similar question. What is your inspiration for drawing in the first place? When I was a kid, my dad had a bunch of Garfield books and I read them a lot. And he also had some Snoopy books and I read those too. And I really liked cartoons and reading newspaper comics, and I decided it'd be really cool if I drew cartoons just like Jim Davis and Charles Schulz, and that's what got me into drawing. Kruby asks, what do you have in mind for your future career? I like to go into 2D character animation and maybe work at some place like Nickelodeon Studios. I'm not so sure about 3D animation. I've got Maya and it's fun to use, but animating in it is really difficult. I really like 2D animating because it's a lot simpler, just drawing stuff out. Do you play favorites with your characters or like them all equally? If so, which one is your personal favorite and why? Yeah, sometimes I do play favorites with my characters. I like characters like Cinnamon and Shank best because they're kind of rebellious characters and it's really fun to just put them in situations and they're bound to do something funny if you play, just play around with situations with them enough. Thylo Guy asks, do you use a technique or pattern to keep your characters looking consistent in each comic or drawing? Usually what I do is put your thumb on the tip of your pencil and measure the head and then you count heads. It's something that's taught in a lot of art books. That's usually what I do. If you look at my drawings, I'm not always successful. There are times I get arms a little longer than normal or legs too long. It takes a lot of practice to try and get character proportions to look consistent. Chance the Dragon asks, what is your ideal anthro character? I like cat characters, mostly from reading Garfield as a kid. As long as a cat character doesn't look scary or something, they appeal to me. Kittler1213 asks, who are one of your artistic influences, illustrators or musicians, etc.? I filled out a meme thing on Deviant Art called the Influence Map, and I have a lot of my influences on it. People like Jim Davis, Charles Schulz, and I also really liked Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson. And a lot of my teachers at school have guided me a lot. One of my favorites was Ed Gutierrez. He was an animator on The Lion King, and he helped me a lot with my drawing. Eyelid asks, is there a character from film or media that you haven't gotten around to drawing yet, but always wanted to? I've been thinking about illustrating Bible stories for some time, and I'd really like to do the part from the book of Samuel where King Saul consults a necromancer to speak to Samuel's ghost after he dies, and I'd make Samuel look really decrepit and ugly as he appears in his ghostly form. That's something I'd really like to draw. As for TV and movies, I like to draw actors more than characters. I just like to draw celebrities and famous people for some reason. I also like to draw historical figures, especially people like presidents. Maybe one of these days I'll do a drawing of all the American presidents together. Theta Husky asks, do you prefer boxers or briefs, and which do you think looks better on someone else? And does the leopard boy have stinky feet? Referring to my character Lyle. I don't have a preference for boxers or briefs, and I don't think one looks better than the other. And since Lyle is a leopard, he probably cleans himself like a cat by licking himself with his tongue, and I'd imagine his feet probably smell like leopard saliva. Cooney Dude asks, what states or countries have you been to? I've been to Arizona, Texas, Virginia, Alaska. I think I've also been to Alabama too. Those are the ones I can name off the top of my head. And other countries, I once went on a high school trip to Europe, and I visited Czechoslovakia, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, and then Vatican City. And of those places, I like Germany the most because it was really green and very nice looking country. I also liked Switzerland a lot. It was there were lots of mountains.
I've also been to Mexico, on a trip with family and friends. That was fun.
Is your second toe bigger than your first toe? Yes, it is. What is a medium you have yet to use that you want to try the most? I've just started taking a Flash class, and I've never used Flash before, and it's a very interesting art program to use. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Next question from GuineaPigDan. Do you know any other languages? I took Spanish in high school. Can you burp the ABCs? No, I can't. Do you have any allergies? I had an allergic reaction to these fuzzy almonds as a kid. I like touching them because I like the fuzzy feeling, and it made my skin become all white and peel off. How many pennies can you fit into one nostril?
Okay, I have a handful of pennies. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't stick another one. 6 pennies. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for all your questions.